What is up, everyone? So, I haven't been watching the market this whole entire week, but at night I do watch charts when I do have time. And currently, I do see that SPY has been touching all-time highs. So, if I actually go look at SPY right now, I can see that it's at 430, which is crazy because when I left a week ago, SPY was somewhere around um, SPY was at like 425. I think it was actually at like somewhere around like 423 or something. So SPY went up like $7 when I was gone, which is crazy. I kind of wanted SPY to be at to have like some kind of like crash when I'm gone, so I don't have to actually witness it. But since I did miss out SPY running up to new all-time highs, we can probably experience some kind of pullback really soon. And the reason I say that is because whenever SPY does accelerate really high, it usually pulls back to the 9 EMA. On the daily, of course, and on the daily you can see that SPY usually hugs the 9 EMA. When it goes really high up, it usually pulls back to the 9 EMA. Currently, I can see that happening right now. I can see SPY going up, and probably SPY's probably gonna pull back to the 9 EMA. How far? When is it gonna pull back? I don't really know, or let's say how fast it's going to pull back, I guess, because sometimes when it pulls back within a few days. Sometimes it pulls back within one day. I prefer it pulling back in one day so that we can get it out of the way. But we'll just have to see. And if I take a look at SPY flow, actually, so trading ticks. I haven't actually looked at flow in a long time. So if I look at flow for SPY. Right, so I go to live option. Looks like this trading ticks I actually updated, so I might see some new stuff. But if I go on trading ticks, I'm sorry, my computer is lagging, right? And I click SPY. Okay, so I guess premiums have been pretty low lately, right? There's only like 169K. That's like pretty low. 300K. Okay, so there was a put bought expiring July 6th, which is next week, worth 411K, which I guess it's one of the larger orders, I can say. Let's take a look. Short expiry. Looks like most of these are puts. This one was about 2 minutes before market close. Chart-wise, like technical analysis-wise on SPY, if I go in a slightly lower time frame on the 4-hour, you can kind of see some sort of rising wedge forming. And if I chart out the resistance, which is really messy, but not messy, it's just not the most perfect one, and then I chart out support, which should be a little bit better, you can see that there is a rising wedge forming. And if I go on a slightly smaller time frame on the hourly, you can see that support's not that great. It's not that friendly, but if I touch as many points as I can, excluding this because we did reclaim the support, you can see that SPY is trading in the rising wedge. And if I adjust resistance a little bit, right, I touch 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, you can kind of see a rising wedge. So the reason why I say I'm unsure when SPY is going to drop is because this rising wedge is not perfect, but you can see that there is a slight rising wedge forming, and I just removed all my indicators, but there's a slight rising wedge. Now let's look at QQQ, because QQQ actually hasn't been doing so well lately. Well, lately, what I mean is the last 2 days, which I guess is normal after some really green days. You can see that QQQ is trying to retest to the 9 EMA. It has done it previously, and I think it's going to do it again. I do think, so far, let me take a look at futures. I actually haven't looked at futures. Alright, so currently the Dow is leading futures. I'm expecting QQQ to be flat tomorrow, if not red. If it does pump tomorrow, which I think it can because this does kind of look like a bull flag. But currently futures do not look good for QQQ. It doesn't look good for tech. And that's why I'm expecting QQQ to probably retest the 9 EMA. The 9 EMA is at 350.98 for QQQ. I don't think it's going to drop $3 tomorrow, but what I do think is it's going to probably trade flat and hopefully, retest the 9 EMA without dropping too much. But as I said, I'm not watching the market tomorrow, and there can be news that will come out for QQQ that will definitely affect it. But on the 4 hour, you see that it does retest the 9 EMA and actually bounced off today, which is good for QQQ. But usually when they retest the 9 EMA on the daily, it retests the 21 EMA on the 4 hour chart. And someone says I don't get to see futures, and you can see futures on the Yahoo Finance app on your phone. You can definitely access futures there. So with that said, I'm going to start answering some questions I see in the chat. Looks like we're not as busy today, which is good for people that are actually on the stream. And make sure you do like the stream. It's going to boost YouTube's algorithm. And I want more people to ask more questions, because if you think about it, the more people that see the stream, the more people that ask tickers for me to chart, the more ideas you can have when you're trading. Because the more tickers you see, the more ideas you have, and the more tickers you actually have to trade into charts. So if you guys can, it's going to only take 1 second of your life. Make sure to like the stream. Make sure to share the stream, because when more people see the stream, it's going to benefit more people. And when more people ask tickers, it's ultimately going to benefit you. So with that said, let me look at some comments, and it's asking me, can I chart out BABA? Of course I can. So I actually haven't been looking at Chinese stocks lately, and whoa, okay, so it had a really red day today, and it went from 228 to, so it dropped $7, which is a lot. Looks like BABA did bounce off the gap here today. So what I do expect for BABA is, if it trades red tomorrow, which I do think it will, I think it's going to go fill this gap all the way down to 219. Or if I'm not counting the wick, 218. It does have a few other gaps under there. So BABA might as well just have a couple of red days and go fill that gap and probably double bottom here. That's my most likely theory here for BABA. Because BABA is usually really good at filling gaps. What I mean by that, BABA formed a really big gap from around 222 all the way to 237. So that's like a $15 gap. It filled that after a couple of days, right? BABA made another bear gap. It kind of gapped up to fill it, but then went back down. We gapped up over here. We went straight down. Now that we have three gaps, and looks like we're starting to fill this gap. So what do I expect with BABA? I'm expecting to fill that gap, because BABA is usually really good at filling gaps. And whenever it fills gaps, it usually takes a couple of red days to actually fill the gap, like over here, and if I go over here, right, BABA did kind of, or over here, you see that we did fill it. These gaps over here, we ended up filling it over here, but that's like, really long term. But in the shorter term, when we have this kind of red day after these pumping green days, it looks like we're going to fill this gap. And also on the daily, we did close below the 9 EMA. So that does signal that we may be in a downtrend right now. But depending on where we open tomorrow, that's where I'm going to set my position on BABA, because we can very well reclaim the 9 EMA and go higher. So we'll have to see. But I do think BABA is going to fill this gap, because usually BABA is good at filling gaps. And if I look at flow for BABA, which also will give us a good indication, it's all low premium flow, but that's also short expiry. If I do, regular expiry, it doesn't really show us anything. Premiums are pretty low. Yeah, I don't know. That's interesting. Let me see anything bought above ask. No, these are 11 o'clock. Below bid, nope. Alright, so yeah, it's interesting. But for short expiry, there are two puts that were bought. So one put was bought 1 minute before market close, the other one 8 minutes before market close. We'll just have to see, right? There were a bunch of people selling calls before close, but there were also some buying calls. So we're going to have to see where BABA opens tomorrow. And if it opens up, if it gaps up, I guess, or if it doesn't reclaims the 9 EMA, I'll say, I will readjust my position on BABA. But for now, I do think I am bearish on it. Can you talk a little about how you combine TTM squeeze, RSI, and EMAs? Of course. So the three indicators I use, and the only three indicators I use, if I go on SPY so it can be easier, are the EMA lines. The EMA lines are the exponential moving averages. They're basically historical prices that were calculated, right? The 9 EMA and the 21 EMA, they're short-term moving averages. 9 EMA is the dark green one. It basically tells you whether or not a stock is in an uptrend or downtrend. When the stock is above the 9 EMA, that shows that the 9 EMA is support and that the stock is in an uptrend. When the stock is below the 90 EMA, that shows that the stock is in a downtrend. As you can see in September, SPY was below the 90 EMA. The 90 EMA was acting as resistance. You can see that whenever SPY tried breaking the 90 EMA, it bounced right off, touched it, bounced, touched it, bounced, touched it, and we finally broke it over here, right? We were in an uptrend. We did kind of gap, and sure enough, we broke down again, and we reclaimed it. So this is on the daily chart, so you don't see many like obvious like downtrends or uptrends, but if you're on the hourly chart, you can see that right here when SPY was going down, it kept bouncing off the 90 EMA, right? It kept failing it. But right when we broke with this giant green candlestick with this giant volume, you can see that we kept holding the 90 EMA and all the way till now. So I'm expecting another retest on 90 EMA. Depending on when or how we break below it, that's something to tell later. Okay, so that's the EMA lines, okay? The larger EMA lines are more long-term EMAs, and they're more long-term supports or resistances. So usually when SPY does correct or crash, I guess, it usually bounces off the 50 EMA, which is the orange line. In September, we did kind of go overboard. We bounced off the 100 and 150 EMA. So the next EMA is the light blue one is the 100 EMA. The yellow one's the 150 EMA, and the dark blue one is the 200 EMA. Okay, these EMAs I use as long-term moving averages, and they're basically just stronger support or resistances over a larger period of time. Of course, if I go into hourly, you can still see that sometimes it respects them, but usually for the larger EMAs, I look on the 4-hour chart, right? For here, when SPY was going down, it bounced off the 100 EMA 3 times, 4 times. This one, the 150 EMA, did break through the 100. But on the daily chart, usually the 50 EMA is pretty strong support. If not, the 100 EMA and the 150 EMA will do just fine. And for March over here, you can see that on the weekly chart, no, it even broke through the weekly ones. But through the monthly charts, you can see that SPY held the 100 EMA and kind of just consolidated around the 50 EMA on the weekly chart, the monthly chart actually. So that is something else you should look at. And whenever SPY does correct, I guess, it does bounce to a 90 EMA. So last September, we did bounce to 90 EMA, and currently we're hovering way beyond that. So the next correction, you can and might see SPY correcting around 398, and perfectly conveniently around the 398 level, we do have gaps around the 400 level. So what can we expect a next correction? Probably to 400. And as we do have these super green days, it does start reminding me of these blow-off tops we had in June of last year in September, and I can perfectly expect one somewhere around now because, as I said, you know, SPY being this green, it's not the best because I don't like when something pumps too green, but also I don't like something that's really red. So we're just gonna have to see if SPY does it. So the next EMA is the TTM squeeze, not the next EMA, the next indicator is the TTM squeeze. This basically shows you the momentum of stock and which way stock is going to break out from. These green dots represent that these stocks have volatility, while the red dots, which on the daily looks like there are none, but on the hourly, you can see the red dots represent that the stock's trading sideways, there's not much volatility. And also, if you look at the bars, the lighter the bar, the more momentum the direction is. When the bar becomes flat, that shows that the momentum is starting to flatten out. And when the bars start becoming lower and like they're lower shade and they're starting to get shorter, that shows you that momentum is dying down. So if you're on the daily chart right now, you can see that SPY is bright green, but you can also see that the bars aren't as high as the bars over here, which shows you that SPY is pumping with low momentum, and it shows that the bulls are starting to give up, not give up or lose momentum. You can see an example for September here where the bars are just flat, right? The bar over here is taller, but you can see that we've been pumping with low momentum. And, you know, comparing here, you can see that, you know, we're also not pumping very well with a lot of momentum. So that's something to keep in mind of. RSI, that basically shows you whether or not a stock is overbought or oversold. The 70 level above this dotted line shows that the stock is overbought. Below 30, that shows you the stock is oversold. Usually when SPY goes over the 70 level, we do have a pullback, and as you can see over here, we pulled back, right? Over here, we did pull back, and especially when September, when our RSI level actually went up to 82, we had a hard pullback, and we needed it. We did needed it because we were super overbought, especially with this blow off top. Currently, we are approaching that level. We're right now at 66, which is starting to become closer. If this does end up as a blow off top, I do expect to pump a little bit more, just because of the fact that a blow off top doesn't only last for one day. It probably lasts for like a week or so, and that's what I'm expecting to happen. And also, I'm expecting correction to happen once we do reach the RSI of 70. So far we're not there, which means that we do have more room to go up. But I'm not ruling out the fact that a correction is possible. Alright? Alright, I do see Amazon on my... Oh, Home Depot. Let's do Home Depot first. So, if we look at Home Depot, I was actually charting this out earlier because I was swinging Home Depot. I bought Home Depot around this area over here, and I've been holding it ever since. And I was looking at Home Depot the other day because Home Depot has been slowing down with the pumping, and I charted it out, and as soon as I charted it, or I looked at the chart, I do realize that there is a rising wedge for Home Depot. And it's not the best rising wedge, it's not the most friendly one. Maybe if I go on the larger time frame, it might be cleaner. But you can see that there is resistance over here. If I go on the hourly chart, you can see that, yeah, resistance plays out pretty nicely actually. You have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then you can say today was the 6 point. Maybe we do have a little bit more room, but I do see a rising wedge. For support, you got 1, 2, 3, and then, it's basically a line. Maybe if I extend this a little bit, right, you can kind of say that this whole entire support is a rising wedge. So, what do I expect Home Depot? Well, I'm on the hourly chart, and if I extend this rising wedge further out, you can see that the rising wedge is going to break out around tomorrow at 1. So, I am expecting Home Depot to have a slight pullback. How little, I don't know. How big, I don't know either. I am expecting a pullback with Home Depot around noon tomorrow. And the only reason I say that is because of technical analysis. If I look at flow for Home Depot, alright, so this is a short expiry. You can see that at 6 minutes before market close, there were a couple of calls, but it's only 25K, so I'm not going to take it that seriously. Okay, so they were put spot 30 minutes before market close for $1 million, and I just got brought to a different tab. $1 million. Another call that was sold for... Oh, and also, by the way, this is a leap put, so that means that they're either swinging this or, something's about to happen a few weeks ahead. But mainly, these are low premium flow, which shows that the dark pool doesn't even know where Home Depot is going to go. But technical analysis wise, we can expect Home Depot to gap down tomorrow and just play out this rising wedge anyways. Or we can expect Home Depot to have a couple of green candles for the first hours of the trading day for Home Depot, and then around, let's say 1:30, 1 to 1:30, I am expecting Home Depot to start probably breaking support. But do keep in mind that rising wedges aren't always bearish. Like 98% of the time rising wedges are bearish. There is a 2% chance that rising wedges can break to the upside, but not very likely. So that is my position on Home Depot. So next stock is going to be Amazon. I do see 2 people asking for Amazon, so I'm going to chart that right now. So for Amazon, okay, this does look like a rising wedge. It looks like a bear flag for a rising wedge, which... Ooh, this looks like a really nice rising wedge. Okay. Amazon looks like a beautiful short right now. Yeah, this looks like a rising wedge. I'm bearish on Amazon. And I do expect Amazon to gap down tomorrow. If it doesn't, it can probably trade green for like the first hour of the trading day for Amazon before breaking down. This looks like a beautiful bear flag, a beautiful rising wedge, which is bearish, and I am bearish on Amazon. I do think it might double. I think it will double bottom around 3,397, around the previous bottom over here. But I do expect Amazon to drop, maybe like $100, not $100, like $40 maybe. But I'm bearish on Amazon for the short term. In the long term, I don't really see anything. Probably a giant cup and handle, but we just have to see how this part plays out. Right, if I go on the daily chart for Amazon, you can see that it has been consolidating for a while now, and it has been forming this cup, and this can be a handle. So once Amazon goes back up to the 3.5K level, that's when I know the handle has been created and Amazon can go higher and possibly finally reach new all-time highs. So that's what I see for Amazon. Next is Snapchat. Ooh, okay, so for Snapchat on the daily, this does look like a beautiful rounded bottom. On the smaller time frame, maybe probably on the hourly chart, you can see consolidation for Snap. If I go on the larger time frame, I do see consolidation for Snap, and it looks like a consolidation to break to the upside because this does represent as a bull flag, right? If I draw a channel over here, you can kind of say there's ascending support over here, possibly an ascending triangle, but this consolidation over here is pretty bullish to me. I might wait for more confirmation before actually buying a call for this, but if you want to buy a call expiring like in next year January, I'd say it won't be a bad idea because Snap does look pretty bullish with this consolidation. So that's basically what I see for Snap. Maybe on a smaller time frame there might be something different. Alright, so on a smaller time frame this does kind of look like a bear flag in a way, where like you kind of slowly go back up, you drop down, you slowly go up, you drop down. That's also a possibility, but looks like we are trading in a pretty reliable support channel, and resistance looks pretty hard to get over, so I'm expecting Snap to maybe test support one more time tomorrow around 66.8. If it does reach there and it holds, a call won't be a bad idea, but that's what I think about Snap. Job reports tomorrow. Are there job reports tomorrow? I'm not really sure. Maybe there is, and if there is, if we have really good job reports, it's definitely going to benefit the Dow. If we don't, it might lean more towards the Nasdaq. It might benefit the Nasdaq more, though the Nasdaq can also react badly to it. So that's basically what I think. But also, if job reports aren't as good, that means rates aren't going to increase as quickly, which is good for tech. So, or the whole market in that case. So it really depends. It's a two-sided, blade. Let's take a look. What platform do you recommend starting with 1.5K? So I personally use Robinhood to day trade. I don't think it's a good platform if you want to be really quick, like scalping. I use Robinhood to like day trade and swing trade. I don't use it to scalp because Robinhood's terrible for scalping. Filling on Robinhood is terrible. So I would recommend like Webull, maybe TOS. I heard it was good, and also, what are the top 3 things I recommend besides paper trading? I recommend first charting out what you're going to play and not actually playing it, because first of all, you need to make sure that your own charts are reliable and you want to trust your own charts. So I want you to chart out things and see if it works. If it does work, then there's the green light for you to go trade. If it does not work, then you have to figure out what you did wrong and trying again. Also, I do find that looking for confirmations really helpful, and basically looking for confirmations when you wait for the stock to actually break out of the resistance before buying the call. The only reason I say that is because sometimes a pattern like an ascending triangle isn't always bullish, and when it's not bullish and you're making the bet that it is bullish, you're going to be losing money. But if you wait for confirmation, maybe when Snap breaks this kind of resistance, this double top over here, yes, you might be making less money, but you're not going to be losing money, and that's my suggestion. Alright, so next stock is SE, which is C Limited. And whoa, what happened? So maybe I have to go in a larger time frame. Okay. Looks like we had some sort of rising wedge breakout, and when we did do that, I do see a falling wedge forming. So we have reliable support over here. Looks like beautiful support, right? And if I draw resistance, resistance is kind of questionable. Oh, this is questionable resistance. Maybe if I go in the smaller time frame. Alright, so resistance, there is descending resistance. Support, there is descending support. I do see a falling wedge forming. Not the most beautiful falling wedge, but it is a falling wedge, and it does look like it's playing out. Currently, we're in the bear flag. I do see C Limited dropping down to 269.8 tomorrow because we are in the bear flag and we're in the bearish consolidation point. So we're at resistance right now. So I am expecting to drop tomorrow, just like these two drops over here. I think around 1 p.m. tomorrow, that's when C Limited is actually going to break out of the falling wedge and hopefully to the upside. But that breakout might not be a permanent a reversal, because we did break out over here, but we immediately tanked it right after. So I'm expecting a breakout around 1 p.m. tomorrow, but if it's a reliable reversal, that does depend. We will need to see how it plays out. Alright, let's do Roblox. That does not look pretty. So Roblox had pretty red days for the last 3 days, and I don't think it's gonna get any better. And the only reason I say that is because it looks like we did form this bear flag over here, and we just immediately broke down again, and I don't think we actually reached the bottom of that bear flag area. So if I go into 30 minutes, this does look like an inverse cup and handle, which is bearish, and if I can find the right tool. So here's the arc, right? Here's the cup, and the handle looks like another smaller cup over here. So I am expecting us to retest this 84.9 point, so roughly Roblox dropping another dollar. We might be lucky here and double bottom here and reverse, or we're going to test here, break support because this is a bearish pattern, and go all the way down to around, let's say, $83. If we do, go down a lot, probably $79, $80. I do see that happening. On the daily chart where the 9 EMA is at, looks like we did bounce off the 100 EMA actually. 50 EMA. And the 50 EMA is at $83. So we might go down to the $83 range to test at 50 EMA. Keep in mind that it's completely possible for us to break it because this new line is pretty new, because Roblox is a new stock in general. Also, keep in mind that volume is also relatively low, so that means that we're pricing in for some pretty big movement. So I will just keep an eye on that for Roblox. There's really nothing else I see, but currently I do see bearish patterns. Tesla. Ooh, okay, so for Tesla, I do see pretty bullish consolidation. Looks like Tesla has been moving for the past few days, which is good. It does look like there's consolidations, and I do see a cup and handle actually for Tesla. This actually does look like a good swing. So here's the cup, and the handle is just like a bull flag. I guess you can say it's kind of like a pennant. Though pennants are more neutral than you think it is, more often of the times pennants can break to the downside. And there is a giant gap over, not giant, but there is a gap for Tesla over here, and it might make a wick down here to fill it before going up, or it'll break to the downside of this pennant and fill this gap. Either way, I do think this gap is going to fill before we break out, but if we don't fill the gap, we might do it sometime soon, so maybe that's another topic we talk another time. But this pennant breakout is going to break out around July 7th, July 8th at 1 p.m. And if you've been watching my past streams, for other stocks like Airbnb, PLTR, and Chewy, there are rising wedges that are forming, and their breakout dates around July 6th, July 7th, and rising wedges are bearish, by the way. And when you see a couple of stocks have rising wedges breaking out all in the same day, that kind of gives you an idea that maybe the market's probably not going to be the best on those 2 days. So what do I expect for Tesla? I do see a pennant breaking out July 6th and July 7th. And when you know that pennants are more neutral than, than other patterns, it kind of gives you the thought that maybe Tesla's also going to be breaking down. And as you can see, there are gaps over here. Tesla isn't overbought, but it can probably sell off more. And you can see that volume is going down, so we know that this pennant is going to break out sometime soon. But pennants are more neutral than you think. I've traded pennants a lot of times where there's a bullish pennant where we go up, but we end up breaking down. It happens way too often. And when you see a couple of other stocks like PLTR, Chewy, and Airbnb have rising wedges breaking out around July 6th and July 7th, it does give you this idea that maybe Tesla's not going to do so well. So I'm expecting Tesla to probably bounce up to around 687 and bounce around until it does break out to the upside or downside. And keep in mind, Tesla can go up. I've seen multiple times where Tesla was bright green when SPY was dumping. So that's also something to pay attention to. As always, technical analysis isn't always the most accurate thing, so you're going to have to wait for confirmation to not lose money. Alright, I'm going to do the last stock because it is pretty late, and keep in mind I'm still on vacation right now and I have to wake up pretty early tomorrow. So last stock I'm looking at is Salesforce, and if I look at Salesforce, I do see some sort of rising wedge, and let me take a look. So you can see that there is resistance over here and support. So support, we got these points over here plus this point. Resistance, we got these points over here. You can see breakouts around July 8th to 12th. So if I make the support a bit tighter because this is a wick, and maybe make resistance a bit closer to the other wicks, you can see that breakouts around July 6th and July 7th. So here's another stock to add to our list on CRM. July 6th to July 7th is another rising wedge breakout. So that just basically sums up what I was talking about the last stock. You can see that there's another stock that has a rising wedge. It's not as beautiful of a rising wedge as Airbnb. I can show you what Airbnb's rising wedge looks like, right? Oh, okay, wait, I just missed a lot of stuff. Okay. Looks like Airbnb actually broke support, but it looks like we did reclaim it. So this rising wedge is still playing out, and breakouts around July 6th and July 7th. Same thing over here. It's not as perfect as it was. I didn't actually look at Airbnb for the last 2 days, so I didn't know what happened, but apparently we did dump and immediately reclaimed. But do keep in mind that maybe these stocks will dump, but the market's still going to be okay, because maybe the Dow is going to carry, because all these rising wedge patterns are on growth stocks. They're all tech stocks. They're all in the NASDAQ, so the Dow might ignore that and possibly pull some other stocks. It might pull SPY, and maybe SPY might pull Tesla up. So we can't really guess. We have to wait for confirmation, and in order to do that, we have to be patient, and we have to wait until July 6th and July 7th to see what actually happens. Looking at flow will definitely help us, but the most important thing to do is to be patient, to look for confirmation, and to actually know what you're buying. Don't buy random things just because other people tell you to. Buy something that you actually know that you understand, right? Don't blindly buy something. So that is it for today's stream. I might stream again during the weekend or maybe next week. Well, next week I'm going to be back trading, so I might do exclusive streams in your servers. But if you did enjoy this, make sure to like the stream so that more people can see. Make sure to subscribe to this channel if you're new and you want more watch lists or live trading content. But I will see you guys next week.